We're hearing from ex-Powell Chief of Staff Lawrence Wilkerson, and he's making the argument that he believes that what the Bush administration was actually doing with enhanced interrogations was trying to make a case for the invasion of Iraq and trying to justify what happened in Iraq. Do you believe that is actually what enhanced interrogation, so-called torture, was being used for?
I've heard that to be true. There is some further evidence of that in Chairman Levin's Armed Services Committee report. There is not a great deal of evidence that came out on our hearing one way or the other about that. The one thing I will say about that is that if that is true, then it takes the application of these techniques out of the protective scope of the Office of Legal Counsel opinions.
And it makes them political. And it makes them, it's not about we were scared, we wanted to defend the country anymore. Now it's about we needed to have some political justification for something we wanted to do.
And
that would sit a lot worse.
There being a criminal prosecution.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. Say it again, sir. I'm sorry.
I said, and that raises the prospect of there being a criminal prosecution that could justifiably emerge from these facts.
So
you're in fact the motivation.
One quick thing before I let you go. It's my producer's getting on me here, but so am I hearing you say that if there was evidence, enough evidence on this particular subject, that it was being used to try and get or boost the reason for the war in Iraq, that you would be more likely to push for criminal prosecution?
Torture is criminal. If it's not justified by the OLC opinion, if there aren't the defenses that raises because you've gone outside of it, then it exposes people to that. That's a decision that should be made by the Attorney General, by appropriate prosecutive officials.
But will you say on the record that if you find evidence of that, you're more apt to want to push for a prosecution, yes or no?
One is more apt to do that, correct.
I want to start first with this report that's on thedailybeast.com by our former own NBC senior investigative producer with the headline, Cheney's Role Deepens, that it came from two U.S. intelligence officials confirmed that Vice President Cheney's office suggested waterboarding an Iraqi prisoner, a former intelligence official for Saddam Hussein, who was suspected to have knowledge of a Saddam al-Qaeda connection. If that is in fact true, does that disturb you?
Not only does it disturb me, but it takes the waterboarding outside of whatever protective cover the Office of Legal Counsel torture memos provide, because those memos are predicated on a very specific scenario in which there has to be significant information about an imminent threat to the United States with a short time horizon, and that's the limitation of the authority the OLC memos provide. If the motivation for doing this was to get political information connecting Saddam Hussein with Osama bin Laden and wasn't related to a direct attack on the United States, then it falls directly under the cases that show that waterboarding is a crime in America and is stripped of all protection from the OLC memoranda. So it's a serious situation.
That's a really important point, Senator, and I am glad that you said that, because this does not involve preventing an imminent attack. And, of course, there's another question about whether torture should be used or waterboarding in that case anyway. But as you point out, as the OLC memos said, in that case it had to be an imminent threat. Does it suggest that the Office of the Vice President was pushing these interrogation methods to find information that they wanted on, perhaps to prove that the Iraq War was justified?
It does suggest that. There's been some suggestion of that from Colin Powell's assistant, I think Colonel or General, I don't remember the name, Wilkerson.
Colonel, yeah.
There's been some
Wilkerson.
suggestion of that in the Armed Services Committee report. This is yet another suggestion of it. This thing is just getting deeper and deeper.
So should